Good morning or afternoon, whenever you're watching this brief. This is First Lieutenant Aguilar of 2nd Bridge. We are going to be doing a brief on the performance triad, which is optimizing health with sleep, activity, and nutrition. Three very broad topics. I will do my best to inform you and help you find the resources you need, as well as give you the basics for optimizing your health. Here's our task, condition, and standard. Task: listen to and take notes on a brief and a practical section on information regarding your health on those three performance triads. Condition: you just need internet access to be able to view this brief or the slideshow, writing material, and a writing surface. And then standard: determine and verbalize tangible ways in which you will improve your health. We'll get into the standard, the little practical at the end. Essentially, a bit of a preview. You're basically just going to be making a SMART goal about a way you can improve your health based off of information from this brief or research you conduct. But here we go. First, sleep. A couple of disclaimers I would like to put out in this video first. Do keep in mind I am not an expert. I am a history teacher by trade, so this is not really my strong suit. However, I did conduct some initial research just to try to get on a good level of understanding of the basics. I kind of scoured the internet a bit, looked at some articles. I linked my most important sources in the slides below. But what you'll see in this brief is mostly the basics, the most agreed upon metrics for sleep, nutrition, and health by a lot of professionals. Also a little bit of like what works for me as well. But no, I try to give catch-all solutions that work for the majority of people. You're going to need to know yourself, know your own body to make those decisions yourself of how you can best optimize your health. If that's not very comforting for you, the fact that you don't really have a super duper expert helping you out right now, do keep in mind 2nd Bridge leadership has tons of experts on this stuff who know way more about this stuff than me. Staff Sergeant Barrick, Staff Sergeant Winfrey, Staff Sergeant Tran, Sergeant Key, and more. Those are just the ones I can think of off the top of my head. A lot of people know a lot about optimizing your health, so maybe you can talk to them as well if you want to get a little bit more specifics, get outside of the wheelhouse of just the basics and the catch-all answers I'll be giving you. Anyways, back to our regularly scheduled brief. We're going to start with sleep. So sleep, why? I think we all know why we must sleep. Essential to tissue repair process, or when you work out really hard or just everyday activity, your cells need time to repair, and sleep is obviously necessary to us. However, the one thing I did learn quite a bit about is the management of your hormone levels, which I found quite fascinating. To ensure your hormones are working properly and their hormone levels are at their proper levels, it's important that you sleep. So there's that. In terms of how, again, these are catch-all answers. It'll differ for you. Maybe you need more, maybe you need less than what I found, which is 7 to 9 hours per night. It varies wildly based off of your age, based off certain circumstances. However, on average, for people our age, with the activity we on average do, about 7 to 9 hours per night is the recommended amount. But it's all about knowing your own body, right? Secondly, how you actually get those 7 to 9 hours per night. That's really tough, right? A lot of us have families. A lot of us have a lot of responsibilities towards the Army and our civilian jobs. So this time is very valuable to try to even get in 7 to 9 hours where you can sleep. So I have a couple tips that I found online. One is avoid stimulation. I think that one's pretty obvious, right? Like, coffee and stuff. But things that also stimulate your mind, such as like video games, screens, social media and stuff. Try to avoid that stuff before bed. But the number one tip I have for you is create a habit around your sleep. Humans are naturally kind of habitual creatures. So if you develop ways and patterns to teach your mind that it is bedtime, your mind will have a lot easier time shutting down and getting into that sleep mode. So certain things like, I don't know, having a very ritualistic hygiene routine, brush your teeth, take your shower right before. Also, kind of having a space where it is your sleep space. I know this is impossible for all of us because a lot of us work from home, but maybe trying to do your work in a room outside of your bedroom, so that room is devoted to your sleeping area. Also, maybe you do some stretches before bed, maybe some meditating. I don't know. We're all into different things. But yeah, create some sort of habit that helps your mind kind of trigger that, oh, okay, now it is bedtime. Over time, your mind will learn. Sweet. Next up, we have activity. Why? I think we kind of know most of the why, but significant mental and physical benefits, both long and short term. I was actually surprised the mental health benefits that activity and exercise provides to individuals. That was a bit surprising to me. But the physical, I think we all know that's pretty obvious. The other thing that was a bit surprising to me was the long-term benefits of activity. I saw a lot of studies talking about people's exercise levels to their bone health, specifically for weight training. For elderly people, their bone health, whether or not they did or did not perform a lot of weight training during their lifespan. I found that very fascinating. So do keep in mind, working out obviously help yourself in the now, but it will help yourself in the future, both physically and mentally. There's a lot of dopamine and stimulation and satisfaction we can get out of activity. I think it's a matter of finding activity that you want to do, exercise that you want to do is the main thing. How you do this, there is a recommendation, again, a catch-all. I'll say catch almost all. You all know yourselves. Maybe you're still learning a bit about yourself, but this is what they recommend overall. 150 to 300 minutes of moderate intensity activity per week. Moderate exercise consists of things you can see in this portion, the left-hand side of this top chart. So walking briskly, water aerobics, slower biking, tennis, ballroom dancing, general gardening. Essentially exercises that you do continuously over a portion of time. However, nothing too rigorous where you get your heart rate going very quickly. So yeah, I also broke it down for you about 25 to 50 minutes a day. If you kind of like to, if your mind works more by day than per week. Most of the studies had it per week, so my mind doesn't work that way. So you can do it by day. I also gave like one rest day. I don't know how many rest days you have, but I tend to have like 1 or 2 rest days a week. So I tried to do about 25 to 50 minutes a day of moderate intensity activity. Really, this can include anything where you're up and moving for a continuous amount of time, walking your dog, going on a walk with a significant other, even shopping. Like, I guess kind of maybe not because you're stopping and going. But whenever I go shopping, I tend to like know exactly what I want. I go grab my thing, I go all over, and then I put my stuff in the shopping cart and I just leave. That could technically count. Maybe not as good as the other ones we see here, like tennis and other stuff, but this does still count as moderate intensity activity. Next up, we have vigorous intensity activities, which is about 12.5 to 25 minutes a day. That's the more traditional working out you can think of, things that you can see on the far right-hand side. So hiking with elevation. Heavy gardening is a bit unconventional, but jumping rope, quick bicycling, tennis, sports, running, jogging, that kind of stuff fits into the vigorous intensity activity. That being said, I know it's very hard for us to find time to exercise. Time management matters significantly, as well as finding exercises that you are looking forward to doing. Time management is huge. I would really try to follow these little tips right here for time management, but the main one is think of the excess time you have where you're on your phone or maybe you're doing other things, those little 20-minute time periods throughout the day. I'll try to utilize those times to do some sort of vigorous exercise or moderate exercise. Because you'll be surprised how many little chunks of time you have in the day where you can utilize to help do some exercise. Obviously, a lot of us are very busy, so it's hard to find those chunks, but it is possible. Like, for example, when I get to work, I do some push-ups. When I leave work, I do some push-ups. When I wake up, I do some push-ups. Just like very little things to kind of help me exercising throughout the day. And then finally, we have nutrition. Nutrition is, I would say, of the fields I was researching for this brief, the most dynamic of the different research I was doing. A lot of things are less agreed upon. So overall, I tried to break it down with the basics. First off, why nutrition is paramount to performance as well as disease prevention. You can check the links for the types of diseases that are prevented by healthy nutrition, but also performance is heavily dictated by nutrition. How? Again, this is very, very broad, very catch-all answer because, again, nutrition is very dynamic. A lot of things, I wouldn't say are changing, but there are new studies coming out talking about different perspectives on nutrition. So here I got it. Know yourself, know your goals, then find the right balance. That's really the main thing. The main idea about nutrition, from what I've seen, again, ask people who are a little bit more knowledgeable about this topic than me. But overall, it's talking about your macronutrients and your micronutrients. So your macronutrients provide your energy and your cell repair, whereas your micronutrients do a plethora of other things. Macronutrients include your proteins, your fats, your carbs. There's a zillion different diets that tell you how to, or not like diets as in like restricting yourself from eating, but diets in terms of like choosing how you're eating and what you're eating. But there's a ton of different breakdowns of how many fats should I have, how many grams of carbs, how many grams of proteins. Know yourself, set your goals, and try to find the right diet that works the best for you. But I would say try to be conscious about what you're intaking. There's different types of proteins, different types of fats, different types of carbs. So there's not just 3 types of macros. There are, I'd say, sub-branches of these macros because there are different various types of protein, like fast-acting proteins, which we see in like whey protein shakes and stuff like that. Fats, there's different types of fats, and then as well as carbs, there's tons of different types of carbs, more sugary carbs, fibers, that kind of thing. Find the right balance that works best for you, that keeps you energized and keeps your body feeling repaired. In terms of micronutrients, there's a plethora of micronutrients that come from many different sources, as you can see here. They all have different benefits, and maybe if you're feeling some sort of way, you can try to boost with sources. There's a lot of studies about like vitamins are a very heavy source of micronutrients versus people saying there's problems with absorption with vitamins and fruits are the way to go. Again, very dynamic field with a lot of different perspectives. It's about knowing yourself, finding an effective balance between macronutrients and micronutrients, consuming everything in moderation, and seeing how your body responds to these diets. Finally, here's your practical. You're going to read an article of your choice from the following source. So if I click on here, bam, while it's loading, here we go, bam, you have the official P3 performance triad from the Army. You have the different little categories you can click on, little recipes, a lot of different things. What I would like you to do is summarize an article of your choice in one paragraph, then explain with a SMART goal one tangible way in which you will improve your health using strategies suggested in the article that you read. So say, for example, I'm really interested in nutrition because Lieutenant Aguilar was kind of all over the place. I want a little bit better advice. I totally understand. You're going to click on the nutrition, the little apple, load a bit, and then bam, they have a lot of different types of activities or articles. Like one thing, hydration. People say a bunch of different things about how much water you should have. That's something I might do. Maybe dietary supplements. I almost said Mr. Aguilar. First Lieutenant Aguilar was very wishy-washy about how many vitamins you should take or if you should take them or if you should do fruit. Maybe that's an article you want to read. But yeah, if you're more interested in the sleep stuff, it's on the far left. If you're more interested in the exercise or activity-related things, it's in the middle. Please feel free to reach out to me or any of those sources I just mentioned, Staff Sergeant Winfrey, Staff Sergeant Tran, Staff Sergeant Berg, Sergeant Key, and I'm sure they would be happy to tell you, give you advice about your health needs. So thank you for your time, and have a good rest of the day.